So it's, again, this is a grant that was to help alleviate COVID, to mitigate COVID, and we were actually able to obtain it and get it going. So it seems to be a great system. So that is complete and ready to go. Several grants that are in the pipeline potential. I did receive a call the other day from Representative Dennis Powers. As you guys know, we have submitted funding for a TCAT, Water State Split here in Union County, and folks, it looks like that we could be receiving some good news soon about this TCAT. The money looks like it is in the state budget ready to roll, so we'll hopefully get the final approval on that soon, and I can let you guys know. But again, keep fingers crossed, keep saying those prayers, because a college here in Union County would be an absolute game changer, as you all know that, and folks, we've got a chance to get it. I do want to point out we have already received a $1 million grant for equipment to go in a TCAT. So what's good at getting the grant if you don't have a building to put it in? So that's why I'm thinking the state is going to come through on this. So I'm seeing some really good things coming our way. So very, very good. Again, I'll just go through a lot of these grants and things are from the ARP, the American Rescue Plan. As you guys know, we have a lot of money coming in for us on that. Any questions on that, please let me know, but I do want to point out the jail repairs that have been brought up. As you guys know, we had to do several things in the jail, according to the state fire marshal. Just to update everyone, we do have a brand new generator. It is installed and working. A kitchen hood with the fire suppression has been ordered. Of course, with the COVID and everything, we're back ordered on a lot of equipment, as you guys know, so that is ordered, ready to go. Alarm panel has been repaired, and the report that addresses all of this has been sent to the state fire marshal. So we are good to go in the jail. Let's see, capital projects, as you guys know, we're still looking for land to hopefully build a convenience center in the Speechwell and Big Ridge Community Center. Community center going up there. Also, we're looking to hopefully get an IT provider soon. Again, that will be for the entire county, except for the Board of Education. I do want to point out the Norris Area Trail System. I brought that up several times. NATS is the acronym for that. This has been something that TVA has been working with for quite some time. Actually, the Norris Area Trail System was able to open up several miles of trails. I believe it was either 6 or 7 miles of trails at the Lewiston Point area. That's actually connected right here to Union County, so it's a lot of trailways that are going through our county. TVA did a big press release the other day. They were going to have a public event, but with the weather coming in, they canceled that. But again, folks, if you have time, just go Google North Area Trail System and see this is a good thing for Union County. So Lewiston Point got some new trails out of this, so very good. All right, a couple of attachments. Excuse me. I do want to point out sales tax. As you guys know, sales tax is going up, and that is because, of course, sales tax, obviously, but internet sales tax. That's why we see our sales tax jumping so much. I do want to point out, let's see, this is October collections. As you can see, Union County was ranked 76%. We had a net gross increase of almost $50,000. So we're bringing in some money on that, folks. So folks, keep ordering Amazon. It's helping us out. All right. Also, November we went down a little bit, but we're still up $35,000. So excellent. Also, the next thing you see here, occupancy tax. That is also referred to as hotel motel tax. So the money that we collect on hotel motel, as you guys know, goes straight into a fund that is used strictly for tourism. In October, we collected almost $6,000, which that is up. And the same thing for November, almost $6,000. TDOT, you have an update from Tennessee Department of Transportation on some things going on in the county. I do the Highway 33 expansion. I know that's a big one that people are concerned about. The bid should let on that in February. Nicole, where's Nicole at? February, that's the last I've heard. Yes. And you should see some work around midsummer. Is that what you've heard too, Nicole? Yes. So hopefully that will happen. And again, folks, it will start at the Knox County line and head this way, okay? So hopefully in June, we will finally see our road starting to expand. One more attachment I do want to put out, and this is per audit. Every year, if we have commissioners that do not complete hours, it does show up in our audit. So commissioners, if you are listed on this, please make sure that you are doing your training hours. Again, that is from audit. So if you have any questions, please let an audit know. Any questions on the mayor's report? No? All right. Thank you very much, folks. Next we have the sheriff's report. Sheriff Brady, come on up, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. this is the report for December 2021. Total cost for service that month we received $758. Total traffic accidents with injury 4. Total non-injury traffic accidents 27. We booked in 119 persons into the jail and released 119. Our current jail population is 62.
Thank you, Sheriff Reed. Number 12, Union County reappraisal plan. Fun times ahead. Come on up, Randy Turner. It's time to reassess the county again. And I'm sure Randy will go into great detail with this if you have questions, but this is, of course, an agreement between us, Randy, and the state of Tennessee on how the reappraisal works. So, Mr. Turner, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the saying goes, time flies when you're having fun, so it's been 5 years already since we signed up and had to have a resolution and a memorandum of understanding with the state of Tennessee. As you all know, we're required to do a countywide reappraisal every 5 years. The last time we done this in 17, obviously, so we're just finishing up on a reappraisal right now and finishing up work on this, so it's time to get a new resolution and memorandum of understanding approved by you all so we can continue forward. It basically, as the mayor said, lays out what the county is responsible for doing the reappraisal, basically the assessor's office, and what the state is agreeing to be in assistance with, helping us along the way. So it lays out all that, and basically it's something, we've been doing the same plan pretty much for the last 25 plus years, probably. It's the same thing we've been doing.
So this is the same plan we approved 5 years ago?
Yeah.
They've already come out of that.
Yes.
I thought so.
Yes. They sure have.
All right.
Any questions?
Any questions for Randy?
How do you do that reappraisal? I mean, certain districts, next.
What we do with the reappraisal is we do 25% review of the county over a 4-year period. So we'll do like Sharp Chapel, one year, lower end 1 year, and then on the 5th year, you basically take a look at the whole county as a whole and what's happened in the last 5 years, what sales are doing, all that. So that's pretty much how the reappraisal works.
Is it on 4 or 5?
On the 5th year, we do that. Yes, we do the whole county.
Any more questions for Randy? Looks like we have a motion by Gary and a second by Bill. If there are no questions, go ahead and vote, please. Motion carried. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, number 14, Mr. David Cox, Union County Highway Superintendent, has 2 items, but come on up, Nicole. Folks, I will say David Cox contacted me this afternoon. His mother is not doing well, so he's at home with his mom. So remember David's mother when you pray, please. She's having a hard time. Did I skip one? I'm so sorry, Deborah. I skipped. Okay, Nicole, sit down. I skipped I'll bring you up in a minute, girl, I promise. My apologies, I'm so sorry. Number 13 is to approve or disapprove the home grant resolution. And just to remind everyone, if you remember last month, we talked about the home grant, all the procedures and rules and all that. We approved them, we just have to have a resolution saying so. I do want to point out we had a meeting with the home grant a couple of days ago. We had about 60 to 70 people that showed up to try to take advantage of this. So that's amazing, folks. So hopefully we'll be able to help a lot of folks in Union County. So we have a motion by Deborah and a second by Dawn to approve this. Any questions? If not, vote please. Motion carried. Thank you very much. All right, Nicole, you can come up now. I'm sorry. Like I said, Nicole is David's office manager. David couldn't be here tonight, so there's 2 things on the agenda. So Nicole, what was yours?
14A is the approval of, or disapproval of the road report for 2022. Our road commissioners did approve this at the January meeting. There was no changes to the road list.
Okay, and this is protocol every January. This has to be approved.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am. A motion by Dawn, second by Sydney. Any?
no changes.
Nothing added?
Nothing added. Yes.
All right. Any other questions for Nicole? Please vote. Motion carried. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. B is to approve, disapprove the bond for the highway superintendent. The bond was paid for, we had received, it was paid for on, August the 26th of 2020. Did not get filed. We found out of that through the audit, and it has been taken care of now.
And the bond was purchased and
It
ready to
was
go,
purchased
it
on
just
the
simply was
26th
not
of
filed?
August, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Say it again.
Who files that?
As far as I know, the office holder files with Pam, is that correct? Okay.
Right.
Right, I mean, they,
Right, and David and I actually went down to David McCullough's office at State Farm, and several he's had or
Yes.
whatever. And that's when we got it then to take it to file to your office,
Right.
so.
And
There was
the-
some miscommunication somewhere.
and it was always there, it just
It was
hadn't been
always
filed.
there, it was
Yes.
always there, yes.
And there was no audit, finding for
No,
this, there,
no.
it was zero findings, just a recommendation that this be filed.
Right,
Yes.
right.
All right, we have a motion by Bill and a second by Sydney. Any other questions for Ms. Nicole before we vote? All right, please vote. Motion carried. Thank you, Nicole. Number 15, Missy Brown, come on down, Director of Finance. And keep in mind, folks, this is 2 months' worth, so bear with us as we go through this.
If I add to Mayor on the bond for David, he is also covered under our county plan. He gets this extra, so there was never anything not out of place.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I'll say it again, all county officials are covered under a bond through our insurance. The bond that David gets is just an extra bond that he wants to carry, okay? So I should have pointed that out, thank you, Missy,
No
my
problem. Just
fault.
wanted to make sure that everybody understood there was never anything not in place. Okay, we do have 2 months of everything to go through. A is the monthly finance report, so in your package you have November and December 2021. All the numbers are in line for both months as far as balances in all of our accounts. So, they'll be happy to answer your questions if anyone has any. Now I'll move on to budget amendments and transfers. And we have 9 pages this month. We have 2 minutes worth from the Board of Education, because they did have their December meeting. So page 1 of 9 is Fund 101, the general fund. These budget amendments are to add the FY 22 United Way grant and the ARPA grant to the library's budget, to enter restricted funds into the county clerk's budget, move collected revenue from the sale into the Chancery Court's budget, and to move funds to needed lines within the elected official's budget. And there is no new money in any of these transfers.
Have a motion by Orel, a second by Gary. Any question on this amendment?
All these funds paid out of the office, ain't
I'm sorry.
they? All these funds paid.
They are.
This is the same thing as we went over the other night.
In the budget meeting, yes, it is.
Any additional questions? All right, if not, please vote. Motion carried.
Page 2 of 9 is Fund 171, the General Capital Projects Fund. This request is to increase the budget for the required jail repairs from the fire.
Motion by Sydney, second by Larry. Any questions? If not, please vote. Motion carried.
Okay, page 3 and 4 of 9 are both Fund 141, the General Purpose Schools. This budget amendment request on page 3 is to enter into the budget the Rome State Community College dual enrollment check, move funds to hire a middle school physical trainer, budget the FY 22 VRS grant, and to move funds within the allotted budget for needed lines.
And Missy, this is page 3 and 4, correct?
Page 3, that was what's on page 3. And then on page 4, the budget amendment request is to enter into the budget the Walter State Community College dual enrollment stipend and to move funds within the allotted budget for needed lines.
Thank you, Missy. Motion by Larry, second by Bill. Any questions on this amendment? If not, please vote. Motion carried.
Okay, and pages 5 through the top of page 9 are all Fund 142 federal programs. The top of page 5 is a budget amendment request to reclassify allocated funds in subfund 011, which is consolidated administration. The bottom of page 5 is Fund 142, subfund 701, the ARP Homeless 2.0 grant. And this is to adjust the allocated budget. Top of page 6, Fund 142, Subfund 901, which is IDEA Part B, which is Special Education Grant. This budget amendment request is to budget funds for a staff position to be hired instead of being a contracted service. Bottom of page 6, Subfund 932, which is the LEA Reopening Grant. This budget amendment request is to budget carryover funds. Page 7 of 9. Subfund 934, ESSER 2.0. This budget amendment request is to reclassify allocated funds. Page 8 of 9 at the top is Subfund 935, which is ESSER 3.0. This budget amendment request is to budget carryover funding. Bottom of the page is Subfund 938, Tennessee All Corps, and this budget amendment request is to enter into budget this new grant. Top of page 9, Subfund 701, they are ARP Homeless 2.0 grant. This budget transfer request is to move funds to necessary lines to cover benefits for the ARP assistant. And that's all of 142.
Thank you, Missy. Motion by Sydney, second by Gary. Any question on those amendments?
These all been approved.
All right, no other questions, please vote. Motion carried.
Okay, and then finally, on the bottom of page 9 is Fund 177, the Educational Capital Projects. This budget transfers to move money in order to add construction administration services to the Union County High School HVAC project.
All right, motion by Bill, second by Janet. Any questions on this one? All right, please vote. Motion carried. All right, surplus.
Surplus, we have 5 items this month. 4 are from the Board of Education. There are 3 CopyStar copiers and 1 Kyocera copier. And then from the EMS department, we have a 2019 Ford tailor-made F-350 ambulance that we'll be putting up for surplus and sell on go deals.
Okay. Motion by Larry, second by Don. Any questions on surplus? If not, vote please. Waiting on you, Kenny Hill. Thank you, sir. Hit it one more time. There you go. Motion carried. Contracts, Missy.
Okay, also, Mayor, where you struck the Cisco network, we also needed to strike the safe home security. We did not get the changes made that Attorney Myers requested last time, so Garnett from the health department is going to try to get that taken care of before next month.
Perfect, and guys, I do want to point out, I believe I brought this up at the last meeting, I'll say it again, from this point on, the Financial Management Committee has voted that any contract that affects 101, 131, whatever it may be, must go to David for approval and then come to County Commission. And as you can see, it's already working because David has found something in the contract that needs to be corrected, so that's why we're doing that. I do want to point out too, we've been advised from CTAS, and Missy, I'll let you, if you have any more details, but CTAS also is now saying that all contracts approved by the Board of Education still must be approved by the legislative body, which is you guys. As you all know, the school board they're over the schools, so obviously they will approve the contracts, their attorney will review the contracts. That does not mean those contracts will go back through David, okay? They have their own attorney, they will approve, they will come to you guys once the board has approved that, okay? So if, next month, if you see a whole list of contracts on there, keep in mind, that could be county, highway, and school, okay? So,
So should I, just read off these contracts that were from?
if you don't mind, and here's why, folks, Missy was notified of this when everything went out, so I just told her just to simply read the contracts. Again, they have been approved by the board. Next month, we will have those listed, okay? Again, we didn't realize, as far as I know, this is something new, I don't know, but CTAS has pushed this out to all counties, okay?
Something new
So,
that they brought to our attention.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Alright, but Missy, if you'll just, we, as you guys can see, let's see, we have, 2 from the county, and then you have some from the board you will read, okay?
Exactly, so I'll start with the school boards, and as he said, these have all already been approved by the school board in either the December or the January meeting. But they approved an Atrium Book Systems Incorporated contract, which is their library software. They approved the Commercial Building Systems Incorporated, which is fire alarm monitoring. They approved Amanda Elliott, an independent contractor for the Color Guard choreography. Responsibility Centered Discipline, which is a discipline program. And then Allen & Allen, which is an E-rate consulting program. And that was all of the contracts that the Board of Education have already approved. So now then on the county, we have Thompson Warriors, it's a 4-year contract for the circuit court, and it's $1,944 per year. And it's the TCA Codes ebook program that, the court system needs to use.
And I did, if you don't mind, Missy, I talked to Judge Edmondson, he called me a little while ago before court started, and he wanted to let me know this is an amazing deal that we're getting on this. He said if commission had any questions, just to let them know that this is a great deal as far as, this is the law books and just his access to the legal stuff that he needs. So again, great deal on this, I told him I'd let you guys know, so.
And the second contract is the East Tennessee Development District, and this is for our ARPA fund management. And their fee is 5% of the ARPA money. But we really feel with all of the regulations and rules that are coming down from the ARPA money and what they require to be filed and processed, that this is really a great plan for us to make sure that all of the projects that we file under ARPA are approved, and we'll make sure that everything, all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted.
Yes, ma'am, I agree, and David did have a change in this contract, he does want to point out, it is a change for the better of Union County, obviously, but go ahead, David.
Change, and, got this to be, I think, on Thursday, it's not what's in your packet, but it's minor, and, what I have here in my hand is what you're gonna actually vote.
And the language was changed on the last paragraph.
On the last paragraph, there
Okay.
was an amendment clause that was taken out of there, and also we put in a clause that they would follow all rules and procedures imposed by state of Tennessee, U.S. Department of Treasury for these funds.
Yes, sir. Okay, I know that's a lot, and contracts are new to us this month. So again, we'll get better as we go, but, you know, a lot of contracts flow through this county, as you guys can imagine, when it comes to all the offices, school board and everything. So this will probably be a lengthy part of the meeting from now on, but just so you guys know, your packets are probably gonna get a little bit thicker because the contract's coming out. But, do we have any questions on any of the contracts?
Ms. Brown, have we already received the 1.5, the first 1.5?
For the ARPA money, it's actually 1.9, but yes, we have already received the first part.
When is the next?
It's next year.
Next year, and I do want to point out too, Jeff, the ARPA funds have not been spent, not one penny of ARPA has been spent. We've been waiting on what's called the final rule on this, and we received the final rule, I think, about 2 weeks ago. So now, this is what the development district will help us with, the management of these funds, and they're advising us not to spend until April. So again, ARPA funds have not been spent at all, not one dime.
Is there a lot of earmarks?
Yes, if you guys remember, I believe I showed you kind of what we were gonna look at as far as, this is the one that we're gonna look at, internet accessibility for the 13th district and for Big Ridge, water and sewer and the fire departments will be taken care of out of this one. Now again, that's just one allocation. We get 1.9 this year and then 1.9 next year, totaling 3.8. But no, sir, not one dime of that has been spent yet. Okay, you're welcome. All right, any questions on any other contracts?
Well, this East Tennessee Development, they just double check your.
They manage the funds and they make sure that they file all the required reports that are gonna have to go to the state to make sure that we don't miss anything, because if we've already had one grant similar to this, and that was the 10 pound, and it was just very detailed, but this one is twice as detailed. So we're just having this to make sure, because if you do anything wrong, you have to pay the money back to us.
Yeah, it's, honestly, it's an insurance policy.
It
too.
really is, just to
And-
make sure.
Yeah, and honestly, I've spoken with a lot of mayors in our 16 county region, and that's what just about all of them are doing, just to be quite honest, because folks, with federal money, as you guys know, oh my goodness, the rules and regs, so we want to, this is the department that writes our big grants for us, so they're used to this, it's what they do. So we do want to have them help us manage our money to make sure that it is spent correctly, because I do not want to have to pay a dime of this back, because it's a lot of money. So, yes.
Yeah, cause if we did a project for, let's say, 1 million, and we found out it wasn't authorized, then we'd have to pay back that.
Absolutely.
So if we've already spent funds, you know, that would be very
Yeah.
detrimental. Yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, Union County doesn't have the funds to pay back $3.8 million if we mess something up, so it's an
So
insurance policy.
we checked with several of the surrounding counties, and also the city of Maynardville is doing the same thing. I'm not
They
sure
are.
which agency they're using, but we decided, I've been in several roundtable discussions with other finance directors, and this is just the safest route to go with this outcome.
Yep. Thank you, Missy. And, what we'll do with this, folks, I believe Amy's got it in as just one vote to approve all contracts, so we don't have to go individually. If there is ever a case that we have to strike a contract or whatever, we will do that before we vote, okay? So, with that being said, you've heard all the contracts. I don't think there's any more questions, so we have a motion by Larry and a second by Bill to approve contracts. Any questions before we do a final vote? All right, please vote. Motion carries, thank you. All right, Missy, annual debt report.
Annual debt report, okay, this is our annual debt report that we come to commission with to let you know the state of the debt in the county. This is to comply with the Union County Debt Management Policy and help to enhance decision-making process and provide transparency on our debts. Page 2 of 7, this is the outstanding net debt amount. At this time, we only have 2 outstanding debts, and that the first one is a Series 2009 bond, which is the Paulette School. The second one is a 2021 bond series, which is the school energy bond, which we just recently refinanced. Both of these debts are being paid, the school energy bond is being paid solely by the school, and the Paulette School is being funded by the pool tax. So at this time, the county general has no debt outstanding.
Say that one more time.
The county general has no debt.
Did you hear that? Zero debt in Union County, that's amazing.
Ms. Brown, refresh my memory, when's the Paulette School will be paid off?
2026.
2026? Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, page 3 of 7.
I got a question.
Sure, what you got?
I know Paulette, this $842,000, that wasn't Paulette, was it? You said Paulette School. Part of that was the other 3 schools renovation.
Well, there was one school that was within the Paulette School. There was a separate debt, the 2013 bond that was for the 3 other schools.
Did
So
they
there's-
refinance that?
Those were, but that was part of the refinance, yes.
Well, we done renovation at several schools.
Right, there was 3 in the one.
But that
bond.
wasn't Paulette School. But there's been one debt is $1 million something, I believe.
Yes, that's the 3 schools.
And then they
I believe
tied it in
that's
with
Sharps
Paulette.
Chapel. Well, they had a separate debt for that. That was Sharps Chapel, Maynardville, and Luttrell, I believe. And then the other, Big Ridge, and then the other schools.
What was the interest rate when they refinanced?
I believe it was 1.2. Yeah.
So there's separate debt for the renovations that you did?
That gives
Yes,
all
there
the
was,
Paulette,
but
it
now
wasn't
they've all been
Paulette.
It's all,
refinanced.
so it's already,
It's actually been paid
No.
off,
Already
yes.
off same time.
In
Yeah, but-
that debt was paid off, there was the 3 separate schools, that debt was
Yeah.
paid off, and then but we still owe the Paulette
Yeah.
School. And there was one renovation in with the Paulette being itself. I believe so.
all renovations and all will be paid off in 2026.
They've actually already been paid off, the Paulette and the one renovation is all the stuff in 2026.
The original law, it's good.
It's basically just that, yes.
Was it not the sewer line?
I'm sorry.
Was it not the sewer line?
The sewer line, I think, was, within that other debt, it was not inside this.
It was with the refinance debt
Yes.
that's been paid off. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
That's my understanding now, like I said, before me, but that's how I've read it today.
I know a lot of people were counting days to get rid of the wheel tax.
Okay, well, let me clarify that with the wheel tax now. The wheel tax will not go away until the full debt obligation is met. And at the end of 2026, it looks like we will still have about 2 years before the full debt will be paid for, because the full tax did not fully fund the debt. So it won't be just go away right at 2026. We'll have to figure out how much is still owed to make the full debt.
What would you say the deficit is per year off the wheel tax making it up?
Apparently, they're bringing in more now than.
It is bringing in more now.
Yeah.
At this time, it is, there is, prior to these past few years, it really didn't bring in near enough.
Oh, we asked for more, they didn't approve it. Had 17 meetings to get what we asked.
If I'm wrong, was it about $8,000 a year, Sean?
At times it was,
And like just this year alone, this year at FY 22, we're 9,285 short of paying the full payments that are coming out. So the way I calculated it today, we run an average each year of 489,000. So, we still like, the total collection shortfall right now is 1,678,000. So if you take the 489,000 average that we collect each year, that shows about 2.92 years after the debt's paid off before we fully see that debt repaid.
Is it paying back to the general fund, or is it paying back,
It's the debt service, and the 51.
it's paying back the debt service? Instead of paying, it'll be paid off, but it won't be, but
It'll still, yeah, that
it'll
full
be a
tax will
back,
still
bill
have to
back
go
to
into
the county.
151 until
Be
we
if
reach
it's paying the county off instead of another.
It'll
In
still
other
go-
words, it'll be paid off, but the county will be paying the state back.
We've still gotta put the money in.
When this deal
cover
is
the
done,
shortfall.
it's poor, I hope that we.
Well, just so everybody
I mean, we wasn't here, I mean, I saw it up here, most of us like here, but it was poor planning.
Oh, it wasn't for planning. What happened, we asked for $35, $40, the county commission wouldn't approve it, 30.
We started at 45.
Yes.
But anytime you're $8,000 in the hole, you raise figures quite a bit.
We're not.
If that dropped it to 30, we wouldn't have that.
It took 17 meetings to get 30.
Well, we just need to make sure we don't.
Right, well,
Oh,
You did.
Clear it up, anybody watching on Facebook, I hear this a lot. The wheel tax, debt services pay what the wheel tax did, make sense of what I understand. So when this Paulette School's original debt gets paid off, the wheel tax has got to finish paying back that service. Basically, what it-
Basically, that's correct.
for the short.
And that's because-
Wheel tax was short.
Sure, and that's because the resolution is worded as such, yes, that it will meet its obligation,
When
so.
was that resolution?
It wasn't redone, it was done in 2009,
Well, they redone the note. At the bank.
but the resolution hasn't been redone. The resolution's still in place.
Yeah, but all that wasn't for Paulette's school.
This bill is for Paulette and one renovation. The other 3 renovations were a totally different bond.
And they've been paid off.
Yet they've been paid off. They were the bond issue of 2013, and they've already been paid off. And that was a little over $1 billion. And it
They've
was-
already made it paid off, didn't you?
Yeah, no, we didn't. We paid it off last year. We just paid it off.
With general fund
With,
money.
with debt service money.
Didn't we just refinance that note back into a different interest rate?
The note we refinanced was the energy bond. Yeah, and that was for a different interest rate. That was to save $120,000.
Right.
And that was for the school.
That's good.
Right.
Okay, so that covers page 2, so on page 3 of 7, this is just showing you the total debt payment for fiscal year. It just shows you how the debt is divided out by payments and interest rates. The next page, 4 of 7, is a chart which just shows you the annual debt service payments from 2022 to 2030. It shows how they'll be paid and how they'll drop off during those times, because the energy bond will be paid off in 2030. And then the final page is just showing you the outstanding debt principals and the decrease in the principal debt for the last 5 years. We have decreased our debt by $7,411,631.
That's impressive. I mean, our debt has went down $7 million, folks, in the last 5 years, you said, Missy?
Yes.
I mean, that's
That's
great.
in the last 5 years.
Very good.
And then the final page is just showing our cash flow analysis, which is something we have to provide with the debt service. It just shows how our cash runs for each year. I'm sorry, that wasn't the last page. 7 of 7 is the surrounding counties' tax rates. And this is on 2020 tax statistics because 2021 has not been published yet, so that's why I had to look at it.
All right, thank you, Missy. All right, any questions on the annual debt report? All right, if not, if I can get a motion, please. All right, now we're good. Danny, a motion by Danny, second by Sydney. If no questions for Missy, go ahead and vote, please. All right, motion carried. Thank you, Missy, very much.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, number 16, Union County Freedom Coalition. We have a spokesperson for this group. All right, come on up, guys. Whenever you're ready, Jason, go ahead, buddy.
My name is Jason Mills, and on behalf of the Union County Freedom Coalition and myself, I want to start with a humble apology to the family of Jerry Beaton and express my deepest condolences for your family's loss of this great man. When I misspoke about him being current constable on Friday night. I ask for your grace for this, as I am truly sorry. I also would like to thank the family for his great service to this county, with all he has done to support the community. I want to also send our prayers to Constable Ryrick's family, as he has had to take time away from his job and his duties as constable to take care of his mother, who is sick and now in hospice care, and apologize for confusing his mother with his wife. May God be with and strengthen those families. I also want to thank Mayor Jason Bailey for the extra time provided to provide information to county commissioners concerning the issues and concerns brought before us by the Union County Commission's Constable Committee. I also want to thank all the supporters that came out tonight, sheriff's deputies, firefighters, rescue squad, constables from other counties, and we appreciate you all being here, constables from Union County. We thank you for coming out and supporting us. Also, I just want to let y'all know that our special guest couldn't make it tonight as he come down with the flu, and we want to send well wishes to him and hope for a speedy recovery for him. As we begin, there are two important questions, and you can address these at the end of our presentation. The main concern of commission is liability. So our main question shall be, how much in dollars and cents in regards to liability will the commission save by abolishing constables? And in dollars and cents, what do you plan to do with these saved funds? Is there any pending lawsuits we need to know about? So again, by abolishing constables, How much in dollars and cents are you saving taxpayers? It was once said, the only thing necessary for triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. During 2020, many of us realized that we, the people, had entrusted our elected representation too much, with many of our elected government officials believing that they have the authority to rule over us versus working as our representatives and public servants of government. This fact became more noticeable with workplace vaccine and mask mandates implemented during the COVID-19 pandemic. And these federal mandates even worked their way into the local level. The law enforcement community found themselves under attack, defunded, and understaffed. No matter which side of the political aisle citizens were on, folks found themselves under attack on a daily basis. Now, more than ever, having safe and protected communities has become a high priority. This is why the Tennessee Freedom Coalition and the Union County Freedom Coalition were formed, to become a voice for the people on the local and state level, where governments either refuse to listen to the people or they are caught up in conflicts of interest or corruption. This is where our elected leadership comes into play. With the county already facing reduced law enforcement personnel due to early retirements and loss of staff, many counties now face a law enforcement officer deficit. County Commission has selected a dangerous time to defund and abolish their own citizens' right to have safe and well-protected communities. The Constable Committee was appointed by the Union County Mayor, Jason Bailey, to act as an exploratory committee comprised of county commissioners. All the information we received about this committee's findings include some state laws about abolishment, constable requirements, county fuel reports, constable oversight, etc. What the committee did not present was the following in regards to liability. Constables are no different from other elected officials. They are covered under the county's insurance policy relative to liability. Their required bond, the required covers money that they could have in possession, but the majority of constables are not generally in charge of carrying any money. Nonetheless, a bond is still required by the state. Training. Constables must enroll and attend at least 40 hours of required training each year. Additional training is now available for constables, with many participating. Constables may, optional according to TCA Title 8, Chapter 120, Section 10, may provide a clearly marked car in accordance to law, but this is not a requirement. Constables must carry a surety bond covering possession of money between approximately $5,000 and $8,000. Liability is a reality for all elected officials. Like other elected officials, citizens vote for constables. Constables present a liability, and so do substitute teachers, bus drivers, courthouse officials, elected and appointed courthouse positions, county commission, school boards, sheriffs, sheriff's deputies, ambulance service, and I could go on and on. But no one on the committee has explained why constables present any more liability than other elected officials or appointed offices. It should be noted that Union County constables have caused no lawsuits, nor have any constables across the state been refused coverage by a county's insurance relative to our findings. We also learned upon our search that between constables and sheriff's deputies, there are only a handful of constables arrested over a few decades, while deputies are in the news on almost a weekly basis across the state and the country. We the people fight for our constitutional rights to preserve this and other elected officials and offices. Last year, 3 lives were saved as a result of the constable's efforts. The county commission dismissed those lives, stating that the involved constable was able to save lives only because of his additional skills as a paramedic. Of course, elected and unpaid constables bring their training and professional skills to the table. Any voter can make these judgments, voting for expertise constables that may possess additional arsenals of knowledge and expertise to protect their community. Perhaps county commission thinks we the people do not possess the intelligence to make those advantageous distinctions when we elect our constables. We the people disagree. This is the beauty of having the power in our hands to elect those we believe will represent us. I would like to tell a story of a little boy named Leo. He's a toddler who in June 2021 was choking on what was believed to be popcorn. He couldn't breathe. Dispatch placed the emergency over the radio, and it was a constable who was there within 3 minutes. When Constable Rice arrived, Leo was blue and not breathing. Constable Rice jumped into action. Out popped a marble that was lodged in the child's throat. No other assistance arrived for another 7 minutes after the marble was dislodged. Without this constable, this toddler and his family most likely faced a horrible outcome. Not breathing for well over 10 minutes would have most likely ended up in death of this child. So I ask, is just one person's life worth the liability? I say yes. Unlike other counties, Union County Commissioners have never publicly recognized the constables except in areas that they wish to negatively highlight. A Knoxville media outlet recognized the heroic efforts of Constable Daniel Rice, who saved this toddler. So I asked the commission to explain to the parents of this young boy how abolishing constables would enhance their community's response time when minutes matter. This is not a competition between emergency responders. We realize many offices are short of staff, are short of expertise. Even more of a reason to retain our elected constables. Commissioners have failed to explain what they intend to do with the money saved for not using constables, since they are the only elected official that do not come with taxpayer-funded salaries. Ironically, this same commission has no problems nearly doubling their salary at the end of 2021. At least 7 county commissioners voted most recently in October 2021 to abolish the long-standing former 1796 constitutional office. Failing to obtain the required 10 votes due to many commissioners being absent, now today they will attempt to abolish the constables again, although we the people have pleaded for them to reconsider their opinion. Before this, constables were defunded of their fuel allowance, the only compensation that they had to refund their cost of fuel to patrol these very communities. When the Tennessee Freedom Coalition learned about Union County's defunding and the possible abolishment of the constables in Union County, we took the research a step further by researching state law, by contacting the Tennessee Constable Association, and adding to the findings of existing research. We also investigated current constables to identify who was active and who was inactive. This was going on after we realized there was misinformation being circulated by the county's constable committee themselves. What we found was more active constables than was being claimed, and the fact that there was more to the story in regards to the ones who are no longer active. In 4 years, so much can change. Liability is the reason counties have insurance policies. So citizens must ask themselves, why are they paying county insurance to begin with if liability doesn't cover any elected or appointed office representative. We the people. We discovered Union County lawsuits and federal courts over the years, but nothing related to constables. And to our knowledge, constables have never been denied coverage on a county's insurance policy. So this commission asks, who governs the constables? Who governs any elected office? Accountability is currently we the people's responsibility. But a constable's action is transparent in several ways. One is by having a local constable commission made up of constables and a captain to ensure they comply with state testing and bonding requirements. We the people can ensure this takes place. Like a fire department, there's a chief who acts as an agent on behalf of the constables to provide reports to ensure all constables are in compliance with state law. Other counties across the state, approximately 51 counties, choose to retain their constables because smaller counties require additional law enforcement, especially when there are multiple events going down. Citizens are learning that these elected positions are powerful in protecting their communities, and now work to elect qualified and experienced constables. As with any elected office, we have voted for good and bad elected officials. The Tennessee Constable Association is working to make laws tougher for poorly performing or non-compliant constables to exist. Constable Accountability Solutions. This is probably something that the commission should be most interested in. This year, the Tennessee General Assembly has a newly passed bill addressing part of the accountability portion of the Commission's Constable Committee's complaint. The new law is an addendum to an older one and becomes law this year. It reads, House Bill 1732 by Halsey, HB 1 732 009 216-1, an act to amend Tennessee Code Annotated, Title 8, Chapter 10, Title 8, Chapter 47, and Title 16, relative to constables. Be it enacted by the General Assembly of the State of Tennessee, Section 1, Tennessee Code Annotated, Title 8, Chapter 10, Part 1, is amended by adding the following as a new section. A constable elected under this part who is under indictment for or who has been formally charged with a crime must immediately be placed on administrative leave by order of a criminal court judge. The criminal court judge shall hold the constable in criminal contempt who does not comply with an order issued under subsection before the order is lifted, terminated, or overturned, and may suspend the constable for unethical conduct or conduct unbecoming a constable. Upon conviction of a crime, the constable may be removed from office by order of a criminal court judge or ousted in accordance with Title 8, Chapter 47. A criminal court judge may only take action under this section after providing a constable with notice and a hearing. The constable is entitled to legal representation in a proceeding held under this section. The constable may appeal the decision of a criminal court judge made under this section to the Criminal Court of Appeals. What's that mean? If you translate it, it means if the constable is not fulfilling their side of the deal, not obtaining their bond or receiving the required 40 hours of training, or having a patrol car in compliance with state requirements, the constable can be stripped of their law enforcement capacity until compliance is achieved. Citizens have a choice at this point to demand the constable resign or begin an ouster suit on the grounds of inactivity. The logic in this entire investment of constables into their position is a sign that they are all in and determined to serve the people as they should be. When someone invests thousands of dollars into their office, they are most likely engaged and serious about serving the people. The current constable situation The constable committee continues to argue that there is only one active constable, not mentioning the fact that they themselves appointed constable and county maintenance employee Kermie Holloway after Constable Jerry Beavis passed away. Constable Randy Tank Flatford was active until his health began declining. Constable Calvin Massengill told us he took a new job, which did not allow him to work as much, and he does not plan on rerunning for the office. Constable Chris Upton shares skill sets including fire chief and administrative skills, and as a business owner, actively patrolling as a citizen of many hats. Constable Daniel Rice has a career as a paramedic, EMT, with fire department training, and is active. Constable Tim Ryrick has been taking care of a family member during a lingering illness. Constable Lynn Storm Carpenter claims he has received his bond, has a patrol car, and went through the required training. Constable Carpenter says that he worked until he was defunded by this very commission. Why don't county commissioners tell us the entire story? The truth will always stand. We the people demand that our vote be protected for new constables. In dangerous times, we the people do not think it is wise or smart for county commission to abolish our constables. These are perilous and uncertain times. Our communities require a hedge of additional law enforcement protection, not currently available. We the people now have the opportunity to run candidates with the experience and quality our families deserve. So before you vote to abolish our elected law enforcement, keep one thing in mind. On August 4th, 2022, we will re-enter the ballot box to elect all county positions. We will elect those who are best prepared to face the new challenges facing our county and our country as we face more violence and lawlessness. When someone 20 or 40 years from now is examining what happened in this historic time on the local level, never let it be said that commissioners fought against the people as they worked to secure and ensure their counties were equipped to face outside forces and tyranny. So I leave you with several questions before you vote. Were the citizens of this county involved during the exploratory process involving the Commissioners' Constable Committee, aka Town Hall, phone polls, online citizens polls, etc.? Number 2, why were the citizens of this county never contacted prior to the failed October 2021 vote to abolish constables? Why were constables never recognized by this commission for their successes? Number 4, explain how much money this vote is saving the county by abolishing this constitutional office in dollars and cents. Number 5, the Constable Committee was formed in 2020, the year of defunding police departments. Why had no one heard about this committee up until recently? Number 6, why did County Commission defund our constables without discussion with the citizens they represent? Number 7, why did County Commission give itself a raise in 2021? Number 8, why doesn't County Commission have taxpayer-funded insurance policies that they suddenly don't want to utilize for a constitutional office established for the people, by the people? Number 9, what do you plan on doing with the saved money by abolishing constables? I thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Jason. Excuse me, before Mr. Mills sits down, do any commissioners have any questions for Mr. Mills before we go into our discussion? Okay. Mr. Cox, you have the floor, sir.
You're talking about the county commission abolishing the constable. Okay. Me personally, I voted to keep the constable, but I have one problem, big problem. You're talking about the constable let's go back to 2020. And when you were talking about Mr. Rice was getting paid dearly for being a constable. is getting paid a lot more than a county commissioner, even if we do get a raise, of the things that we go through with. And if you want me to read off some of it, I can read off some numbers that Mr. Rice was getting paid in 2020. And,
On his mileage reimbursement?
I don't know what it was for. It says here, Sheriff Department Jackson. I don't know where the money was coming out of the Sheriff's Department budget. I don't know where it was coming from.
We got.
I have no idea, but it shouldn't be on this.
We got $3,006.09 from August 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2020. $3,006.09.
Yeah, what the difference between
If that was gonna be my question, how, if the checks and balances were in place, the resolution that I have says that, there was a $1,400 or $1,500 limit.
14,
the checks and balances is what caused this. To be quite honest, that's how that's good.
Right? But at the same time, if Constable Rice was patrolling like he was supposed to and was doing the service to the committee, I still don't think that, there should have been a problem paying, Mr. Rice.
And as far as Mr. Carpenter, he, it looked like the constable
collected one.
several months before he even collected 1 month for, no,
About 3. It's still 288. But anyways,
$221.
we can't find anything on any of these documents showing that any of the constables, period, except Randy Blackford, I don't care the name, and Daniel Rice.
I turned in for mileage. What if they were donating their services and not wanting to, make the county pay?
I don't know.
I don't
know this. I looked in constable back in those days, if I could get that kind of number.
Here, I think you can clarify Daniel Rice's position of what happened. Go ahead.
What do you mean now? Clarify.
The hours that he had sent in, was it 400 or something like that?
I'm not
He sent
sure.
it all in at once.
One of them $492.
It's different dates.
I believe, what you're referring to, Jeff, I believe it
I believe
came
he
up.
turned in several months all at once.
I think so, and that came up, I don't, months ago, let's say months ago, that he turned it in, whether it be Daniel or whoever. And again, like Danny said, I believe that's when the checks and balances caught that, because that was actually brought to commission to let commission know this constable had turned in way over the allotted mileage. So of course, they voted to pay, he was paid. But that also speared the vote that took away the mileage reimbursement, if you guys remember that kinda came from this. But is that what you need to know, Jeff? I mean, okay.
I also want to clarify, sorry to interrupt, I also want to clarify, our position as far as Tennessee Freedom Coalition and the Union County Freedom Coalition. We are not here to save any particular constable. That is not what we're here for. We are only here to save the office. We want the people of Union County to be able to vote for our elected constable, in the future. We want to be able to, support those that we feel will do the best job. We know that the county, election, community, those, everybody doesn't vote, but those that have voted, maybe perhaps haven't always voted the best way. Maybe they voted by whose last name it was, or who was their friend, or who was their neighbor. We understand that. Us as a Tennessee Freedom Coalition, Union County Freedom Coalition, plan on doing our due diligence to make sure that this county has the absolute best people in positions that we can get. And we want to support them. We want to make sure, as I said in my speech there's a way for the Union County constables to form a community themselves, just like the fire department. We want them to be able to come here and give commission like the sheriff's report, but with a constable report. We want to work with the constables to come up with a chief constable, not a paid position, anything like that, and he's not going to have any power per se over the constables, but he's gonna be the one that is going to make sure that the constables are gonna be doing their training, doing their jobs, getting out there and patrolling and doing all those things that they should be. And this chief will also, be the one that will come to commission and, like I said, give the constable report. If y'all so choose so, that is in, this, 2007, resolution passed by this, commission. So we, as a community have decided that we the people are ready to step up like we should.
Well, let me ask you something.
Yes, sir.
We're not having a vote on what to do with the constable. We've already had a vote and it's voted down, so we're not voting on it again.
But we were told that
Well, you was told wrong.
we were told by
Completely
by
wrong.
this.
If it was
by
voted
members of
once,
this commission.
if it's voted it down, we didn't do away with them, we ain't supposed to have no more votes. You got constables, do your job, and go on.
Thank you, sir.
Sydney, you asked to speak, go ahead, Sydney.
That's basically what I was talking about, what Larry was talking about. We voted on this before.
Right.
In me,
And
personally,
October.
I don't care who knows it, I
It
voted.
takes 2/3 to do away with it.
Right, we understand how.
Sydney has the floor, go ahead, Sydney, thank you.
I appreciate everyone that reached out to me. I've had constituents all across the county that have reached out to me, and I will ask this, is there anybody that reached out to me that I did not respond to? Okay. The first question I have, you all got a petition to get signatures. How many signatures did this petition receive to save the constable?
I do not have a petition.
Phase petition.
And other citizens can do their own.
I agree.
I do not have one.
As of 5/44, the Sacramento you had 23 signatures.
That's only the electronic.
Oh, okay. I wonder why there's a paper floating around either, okay. Where are other than Daniel, I seen you sitting back there, do we have any more constables beside Daniel here in the county that's here tonight? Okay. So with the other 5, or let me say this, excluding Mr. Rice, Mr. Flacker due to health issues, and Mr. Lowry taking care of sitting down with, where's the rest of them?
Well, as I said, Mr. Masgill, does not plan on running again.
Okay, but I'm talking about now, I'm not talking about 2022.
Well,
I'm talking about right now.
to be honest with you, a lot of, your constables, when y'all defunded them, have, kind of, lost their, support for this county.
So the pay is the motivation.
No, it's not the motivation,
Okay.
but it showed that the constables were not being respected by this commission.
Okay.
That's been what we've been told.
Okay.
The way we saw it, the way we saw it, when we got the report, like one company was taking advantage of getting the money, it all stopped.
Right.
Totally lost.
How long ago is it since they received any money at all? Since we defunded? Last year,
Are you part of this district? Are you part of this
When I
district?
contacted finance myself,
I
they
have
said.
property in Union County, but I'm an Anderson County constable.
You know, are there any vacant spots in this district? Are there any vacant spots in this district?
Yeah, there's going to be some vacant ones in Union County.
But around June, July? June, July is election, isn't it? I've only lived here 3 years. Okay.
The loss?
Everybody was really, really busy. Mr. Miller, do you not serve on the sixth district audit fire department?
No, I do not.
Did you not at one time?
My son does.
And it's not you have a station in your yard that's supposed to be in school district?
What,
Is
why?
that right?
We're here about
I
money.
know, but doesn't Mr. Rice benefit from you coming up here?
Mr. Rice has nothing to do with me being here. I am here on behalf of the constables and the people of this county.
And he uses his car to run fire. Calls.
Can,
Which benefits the sixth district? Does he-
well, I'm not in the sixth district, I'm in the fourth district, I'm in your district.
I know you are, sir. It benefits the fire department because it's the first time
if he's acting as constable, it has nothing to do with the fire department, has nothing to do with the EMT, has nothing to do with any other thing, if he's acting in the office of a constable.
This is working on their vehicle and so he gets the fire department benefits from that.
Fire department does not benefit by, somebody acting as a constable. I don't understand the correlation.
Let's see. Okay, now, guys, if you notice, if you wanna speak, please make sure you do it this way. I'm gonna let Sydney finish his. I will go to Dawn, hold on one second, and then I'll go to Jeff, and we're gonna move on to the discussion, okay? So the people that are up here right now, they're asking questions. After that, we are moving on to number 17. So Sydney, please finish.
You made a comment, Sunday night on your live stream, which I appreciate you clearing up the muddy water regarding, Mr. Beaver, and apologizing to his family, because to me, I saw that as a slap in her face. I appreciate you cleared up, Mr. Wyrick as well. But, you referenced that you received that list of constables that were put here in this return from a government office. What office did you receive that
From the election commission.
Okay, and, you said in your thing that many were participating in trainings and everything. That resolution from 2007 plainly states it had some requirements, to my knowledge, that no constable has completed. Let me rephrase that, since 2018.
Mr. Jesse, if I could remind you, refresh your memory, you didn't even know about that resolution until about 2 weeks ago.
I understand that.
And as I said 2 weeks ago at our meeting, or thereabout, I also asked you a very question that you didn't know about it as the body that, passed that resolution. How are they supposed to know?
Well, some of the requirements that the county had coincide with the state. Now, with that being said, one of them is the mark call.
That is not a law that has to, it says they may, it doesn't say they have to.
In the county resolution, it states that it's not made. They're required to have it. And we also asked for a report from the constables, that we've not received. Unless I missed something, on that. But are you aware of what it costs to equip a police car?
Yes, being a former police officer myself, I'm always,
How much you think it costs?
well, as far as the constable goes, it depends on what kind of equipment they want to use.
I'm talking about sheriff. I'm gonna get to the constable portion, but what do you think it costs to equip a police car?
Around $40,000.
Well, according to this, and this goes back to September the 21st of 2021. According to this, you're going to be somewhere around $8,000.
Correct.
On that. And, but you also, had mentioned that these trainings, and mentioned putting somebody in place over these constables, where again, you can't force them to do it. You are aware of that, correct?
Correct, which is why I stated that we, with Tennessee Freedom Coalition, are gonna work, to make sure that we have elected, constables that are really willing to, do those tasks.
Okay, so let me rephrase this. The same people voted in 2018 to elect these constables because they couldn't got elected without them. The people's not changed. You see what I'm saying?
Correct, but we have been working diligently to make sure that the community is educated on what constables do. We've been educating the coalition as far as making sure they can get out and vote, and not just vote because it's their best friend, or not to vote because it's a last name, or whatever it may be.
I do have a question in regards to the saving of the child's life. Mr. Rice is also, he's had previous training in other careers. What portion of the training saved the child's life? Was it training that he received as a constable, or was it due to?
Let me tell you, every, officer, sheriff's deputy, through basic first aid, and therefore the Heimlich maneuver, basic first aid, CPR, etc., is also taught in those classes.
Can you verify that all the constables?
Let me also say that us as a coalition and Union County citizens have every right to get out here and vote for people that we feel are highly trained, highly educated, and just because they might have been a firefighter, they might have been a police officer, that has even more credit for why we vote for them. So why are you, Mr. Jesse, trying to say that it's a bad thing?
I'm not saying it's bad.
You're basically attacking Mr. Rice because he has this training.
I'm not attacking, I'm just asking what portion of his training came into play. Was it his training as a constable, or was it his training as a?
Let me ask you, if your child was killed, would it matter to you what his training was?
No, I mean, to me.
Exactly.
But, I mean, there again, I mean, I've been through CPR training and all that, so I'm well versed, in that. I do have some questions, Ms. Davis, can you ask questions or answer questions?
Sure,
Okay, are you a citizen of Union County?
Yes.
Okay, are you a registered voter in Union County?
Yes.
And you mentioned, the liability portion, this is where I'd like to bring David Myers, get some answers from him. If a constable makes a false arrest and they take him here to the jail and put him in jail and that's false arrest has led to false imprisonment, who is liable?
Of course, they can sue anyone, they'll sue the constable of Union County.
So the county would be liable if that were to take place.
Same thing as the sheriff did.
Necessarily be liable, they'd have proof.
Right. But if it turns out to be a true false arrest, and that particular individual turns around and sues, the constable would be the first mentioned in the
If a
lawsuit.
jury or a court returns a verdict against the county or the constable, they have to pay.
Okay, going back to the liability of insurance, just because we carry liability insurance doesn't obligate the insurance company to pay, is that correct?
No, that's why we buy the insurance.
And I would like to remind you that no constable has been sued, no constable has caused any liability in this county. I also like to remind you that the sheriff's department, or the city police department for that matter, would have the same result if they made a false arrest.
I agree.
I also would like to remind you that the sheriff's department has been sued several times in this county. This county has been sued several times. The school board has been sued 3 times for your recess. Again, I remind you, county commission or constable has not ever been sued.
And I mean, I won't dispute you there, but here's my final question. Out of the 3 lives that were saved last year, and you're only talking about one constable that saved those lives, correct?
Correct, but every other constable could still save lives. It doesn't have to be one, it could be all of them.
The
Let me,
we're talking about.
again, your child's children. One of the constables, the first one to show up at your house, what are you gonna tell him? No, you're a constable, get out of the way.
I mean, no, if I
Exactly.
I would ask them to help, but where are the guardian or the representation of those people that were saved? Why are they not here defending this cause?
The toddler's mother was gonna be here,
Okay.
but she had to work.
Okay, where's the other 2 guys that were saved, who's here to represent him?
I didn't ask them to be here.
That's all I was.
Thank you, Sydney. Next, we got Jeff, and then Dawn has come off, Larry has come off, or went on, so Jeff, Larry, and then we're moving on, folks. Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, I just have a few comments. I mean, Sydney was talking about the cars and the requirements, and the car would cost $8,000. That's what she said.
To quit, yeah, not charge that.
Well, it's doing businesses and hours to tell a constable what he can afford and what he can't afford. I mean, if the car's $100,000, he wants to buy one, let him buy one. Another thing is, the difference in the way the constables have been active, which it hasn't been good, I'll agree with you there. There's an state statute he just gave it to you, which would go to a criminal court judge. That would prevent what we've had in the past. He's not here to fight for the constable, he's here to fight for the office of constable. Now, all of us make mistakes in life, and I'm gonna admit, since, I've been commissioner for almost 8 years, and I too will tell you tonight that if I could take a vote back, it would be to not defund the constable. And I'll tell you why. And J.M. Bailey, when he sat right over there, he would say, you cannot put a price on life. You've heard me say it 100 times. Okay. And you know, Daniel Rice made a mistake. I made a mistake. I made a mistake of defunding, second the motion to defund the constables. Daniel Rice made a mistake, he'll probably tell you. But, give him another chance, that's all I'm asking. And, with that said, I got a motion to make. My motion is to table, to retain any conversation on retaining or removing a constable to Union County, the office of constable.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second on that motion? Do I hear a second on the motion? Third and final, do I have a second on the motion? Motion fails for lack of second.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion. I make a motion we table the whole thing.
Okay.
What did I do that?
You made a motion to table that. No, you didn't make a motion.
I said any to retain or remove the constable.
I made a motion to
Well, I thought it was already voted that we kept the constable.
We did.
You said we kept this
I
today.
did. We've already voted to keep them.
This is a table to keep it from coming up for a year.
Yeah, but what's the rest of it?
We got election coming up, if you're aware.
Oh,
Amen.
Well, if the people want to keep the constables, they'll vote for them again, if they don't, then they ain't going to.
I guess what I'm trying to get at, we don't need to be all this taxpayers' money and sit here throwing this against the wall back and forth. We got constables, let's table it for a year. Bring it up next year.
We voted it down in October, wow, what are you even doing?
Let me explain it to you, Mr. Cox. Let me explain it to you, Mr. Cox, it's very simple. We did vote it down, but it's on the agenda tonight. My motion was
It ain't on the agenda.
It was put on the
discussion, okay?
It was put on the agenda.
Well, anyway.
There's no
We've
vote
got
on
constables. The discussion would be the table, that way we don't have to go through this for a whole year.
And by the way, you just ain't vote that night. You were saying.
All right. Okay, look, we've got,
You don't know what you're talking about.
all right, stop. Now, moving right along, Mr. Lay, you mentioned that you want a motion. Do you have a motion on the floor?
No, we've got constable, let's keep.
All right, and let me verify why this is on the agenda. I made the agenda, and let me explain this, okay?
I think you explained it doesn't matter.
Well, this came up in October. You guys had a vote on it. Their discussion was brought up again in November. When I consulted the county attorney, it was to be put on the agenda 2 consecutive times, folks. That's why I put it on the agenda this time, to bring it up to discuss it. Regardless of whether it is put on the agenda as a discussion or as a vote, any county commissioner can bring up a motion at any time for anything. That does not matter. But with that being said, that's why it's on the agenda, okay? So we've heard from everyone. We went through the list. Everyone has spoke. And Danny, I'll give you a chance on the next one, okay? Just give me 1 second. So, Jason, thank you, my friend, for coming up. Folks, thank you very much. We're going to move right along, all right?
I need to clarify one thing before you move on.
One thing.
I did second the motion to defund the constable. The next vote, I abstain from removing the constable.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. All right, number 17 is discuss the constable. So, Danny, you wanted to speak on the last one. This is rolled over. Go ahead. Go ahead, buddy.
I remember correctly, you did recognize
Honestly, I know I texted Mr. Rice and thanked him for it. I don't know that I said it. I don't know that I said it in a meeting or not, but if you said I did, I did. Okay. Okay. All right. Any other? Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Just a second. Everybody think about it. We can't do this anyway. We gotta pass it in 2 meetings. If we pass it tonight, we will not be back to another meeting before qualifying starts, and we can't do anything after qualifying starts. So it's a moot issue anyway. Once they pick up their papers, we can't do anything.
Can I say one thing to that? And just simply because I had a discussion with Ms. Booker, and this is the election administrator, Candy Booker. This actually came up, Gary, and she called and asked about this. And if that is the case, let's say commission voted to get rid of the constables this month, we have to have another vote. They can still pick up their qualifying papers. However, if county commission decides to abolish, then those petitions become null and void. So she did check on that. So if that is the case, that they can pick up, but we can still do away with it. So she did call and ask on that.
I
So.
talked to Steve, that's what they told me, so.
Sure, I understand.
They told me that once qualifying starts, you can't do anything anyway, so.
Okay.
I just waited till everybody else had their say, and I throw that out there.
Yes, sir.
Nobody on this commission.
I don't know anybody that wants to get rid of it.
I don't either.
We tried it once, it didn't work.
Vote to remove it. If nobody wants to get rid of it.
Well, at the time, I don't think we had all the information that we have had since October. In October, it come up all of a sudden. We were all just kind of blindsided with it. And I think we didn't have all the proper information. And from a lot of people that I've talked to since then, since they do have more information, I think a lot of people have changed their mind. I know that I have.
Well, every phone call I've received is to keep the constable. And it's not just the fifth, it's all over the county.
I've received one phone call, one, and it was to keep constables, it was not to abolish.
Not every one I got said keep them. I got 2 today.
I only got one, I got it this morning.
All right, any other discussion? Any other discussion, any motions, anything else we need to take care of regarding constables? And, just keep in mind, folks, if nothing happens, if there's no motion or anything, it's over, okay? So it will not be on the agenda next month, it's done, all right? So anything else before we move on? Any questions, comments, motions? Going once, going twice? Number 18, new business. Any new business from any commissioner? All right, number 19, addendums. We have none. We have no public comments. Hold on, Amy, let's get it on the right screen. Do I have a motion to adjourn by Bill Cox, second by Danny Cook? All in favor, please vote. Thank you, folks. Have a great night.